can't change. So if we can create enough of a wave that the younger players decide to go back
and represent their
and
actual.
represent their
I
countries,
think that would be good if they could do it of their countries of their origin,
then.
as opposed to just where they're born. Kind of thing.
But again, the problem with that is, which is what I'm not scared about because it's not reality, but the problem with that is, in my head, is that if all the black people was to go somewhere, they'll just nuke us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if all the black people, all the good, like super sick footballers go back to their countries, they're just going to blow up the plane.
But I don't think this is. I'm not looking at this as football. I'm
That's
looking
the
at this
problem.
as life.
It's not football.
Like
It's
they've
politics.
reminded us
It's politics.
in such a subtle but not subtle
I was
way.
gonna say, do
They've
you think it's
reminded you
subtle?
like it wasn't
subtle at all.
But no, it wasn't subtle until you looked at everything.
There's just no
you
other
did.
way.
It's a
There's no
covert
other-
way, but
there's
it
no
wasn't
other way
subtle,
to-
yeah.
It wasn't subtle. It was a listen. We're
This is
showing
the thing,
you.
yeah. This is the thing, yeah. We and many people think it's football. It's just football. It's not football.
No, it's big
It's
sport,
never
definitely.
football.
No.
Politics. They can't remove racism
Yeah.
because it's within it.
Yeah.
You can't just take it out.
Yeah.
This is why when it comes to Sterling and man like that who are having to kind of fight that fight, there's still a huge lack of awareness that them man have. You can't be half in and half out. Man's supposed to say fuck England. I'm not supposed to be putting on this white shirt that represents what it represents and get glory for the same people who colonized my people. The message subliminally is powerful. That's what they're saying.
Blunt.
That's what they're saying, whether they know it or not. They don't understand that, yo, whether I'm injured, they see me as a nigger. If I scored a winning goal in the Euros, I'm still a nigger. That's what it is, and that's always what it's going to be. These people do not value us in the slightest.
Right, you got to remember, like what I'll say, yeah, Sterling is a legend, yeah, he is, and I think he represents the black community very well. Full black family, 3 kids, all in the same house, family all in one nuclear energy, gives back to deprived communities. He does a lot behind, like this guy does a lot behind the scenes. Doesn't really do anything bad. There's never really a bad scandal about him if you think about it.
The
Yeah,
biggest
but-
scandal was the tattoo of the gun,
tattoo, man.
The tattoo, and the tattoo had nothing to do with what the tabloids were saying that the tattoo was. It had nothing to do with that at all.
But that's what we're saying.
But that's the problem.
yeah.
So, as Sterling himself, I don't think Sterling is a problem, and I don't think that. And I think where he is, because you have to remember when you grow up in a footballing society, right? You're unaware what's going on outside of that world. Same with Michael Jordan. A lot of people have problems with Michael Jordan.
What do you mean outside of that world?
So the real one.
The real world. The real world. You're not aware of
in
the
a
real
bubble,
world
innit?
because
In a
when you
bubble.
go through a youth system, all you do is know football. You wake up, you play football, the school that you go to is attached to the football club, so you don't actually know what it's like. There's only a few people that really know what it's like, and usually it's the South American players, because out there is a different sort of poverty, yeah? It's usually those that come up grinding, but over here, it's not really like that. And my analogy with Michael Jordan is exactly the same. People had a lot of issues with Michael and how he represented the black community and da. But you can't blame him for that because he's never lived in the real world. He's only lived in a sporting environment, and he's only been the best. Same with Sterling. He's only been very, very good, where he's never actually had to deal with the stuff that we might have to deal on a day-to-day basis.
But he's dealing with it within football. So that outer world has come into the world of football in regards to him, because he's experienced it.
Very different to how we would experience it. So you would still be protected to some degree. Remember, football's a team sport, yeah? So if your team is good, and usually the best teams are the ones that have the best cohesion, the best chemistry, which we have at the moment, you're protected. Think about the hood, yeah? If you approach a guy on his ones, 9 times out of 10 he ain't really tough. If you approach him in a group of 10 people, 11 people, now he's the baddest person. that philosophy is transferable over many different sectors, yeah? So if you put 11 people on the field, white, black, mixed, whatever, and they have that same sort of upbringing, they're not talking about the outside world, because guess what? We're a team, we got each other. No one can talk about United, no one can talk about England, no one can talk about Arsenal, because we represent them. So for Sterling, who's on like 350k a week, yeah, with stupid brand deals, he done a deal with Gillette and his son's in it, so his son's probably getting royalties. He's doing everything right as a black man. To me, he's doing everything right. The racism that he is getting might fuck up his life a little bit, but in reality, the legacy that he's leaving behind and the stuff he's patterning is massive, bro.
Do you know how huge it is? Do you know how huge it would be for Sterling to stick his finger up at England and walk away? That is sending ripples through the universe. Just fuck money, because really at this point, right, it's integrity. I'm not saying that Sterling doesn't have any, because everything that you've said is
Makes
happening.
sense, yeah.
It's valid. He's doing his thing out there. But in regards to representing England as a black man, it's extremely problematic, because right now that he knows what he knows, he's making a choice to play for these racist scumbags that are never going to accept him.
Chris Brown at the beginning of his song said, how can you hate from outside the club when you can't get in? The people that are talking to Sterling can't get into the club. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the tabloids, the newspaper people, all these other people, they can't really chat to Sterling because they can't sit next to Sterling.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So everything someone's saying to him or throwing at him is from way over there. That's not really, do you get what I'm saying?
He does.
Yeah, it's way over there. It's not really in his thing. So him playing for England, he's not saying, in his head, he's not thinking, he's not thinking I'm representing racist people. He's thinking I'm representing the team, I'm representing the man them, I'm representing all the black kids that want to be footballers, that want to make a lot of money, that want to do this, that want to do that, that actually have a passion, because it is his passion. So really what you're asking is for him to give up his passion. He's representing black people as a whole as what a successful black man can be if you work hard at your craft, if you've got enough talent. So to me, I wouldn't...
And if you are willing to tolerate the hatred.
It depends, but you're going to be hated in any aspects.
Yeah, but this is a different type of hate. This is systematic racism.
Funny enough, I think no matter what job we're doing
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
all of us
Yeah.
are experiencing it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you're a footballer, whether you just work in
Personal
a
system.
personal, it's
Yeah.
all under the
think
one
what
system.
he
and I
represents
don't think we can get away from
in
it.
UK
Even
funds,
if you're
Yeah.
buying your house,
Yeah.
you're buying your house on the Queen's land.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You're
But
buying it in the system.
I hear what you're
Bro,
saying
listen,
about
I get what
integrity.
he's saying,
listen,
but you know what I'm
listen.
saying?
Wait, one second,
Like-
let me say this. What he
It would be
represents...
powerful if he
And
said,
this is,
One second,
and
one
this is
second,
the
one second.
difference.
Yeah.
What he
There are
represents,
people
though.
who are willing to just go out and say fuck this, and there are people
Look,
that are just willing to.
it would be
play
powerful
along.
if
But
he
it's
said,
what he
I'm-
represents.
I'm
It's
not
what
to play along
it's
with
what
that.
he represents. Him as a person. Think about it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying fuck the system. I ain't playing. Bun that.
not even
Yeah?
that, not playing, but guess what? You guys won't accept me here. I'll go to Jamaica.
You can't. You can't.
That's what
You
he's saying.
can't. Right.
No,
Right.
I'm not saying he
You
can.
can't. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. A bunch of billionaires tried to recreate a new league.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
like,
Billionaires.
yeah,
White
yeah.
billionaires
Yeah.
tried to create a new league. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you think a black person
Yeah.
can create a new team? That's
I'm
not
not saying
happening.
new team. I'm saying he would just say, well,
No.
I won't play.
I hear what he's saying,
No, yeah.
but now look, pre it, because he's just adding to what I'm trying to say. They didn't want this league to happen, so it never happened. In regards to racism, I haven't seen that much effort from anybody in the game.
100%.
So what they're saying is it's okay for us to mistreat you and violate you day in and day out. And bear in mind, the papers come with that. The papers are a part of the game.
Yeah.
So when something happens, the papers are there to report and show you a version of what it is. But once you're there to play the game, you add to that fire. As I said, I'm not saying that he could, and to be fair, it's not even really about him. It's about black men representing England. It does not look good, but I do get what you're saying. If you're coming through the ranks of football and that is your world, you're not going to be able to see anything.
You could say the same for France.
Yeah,
But if you look at France, France is
France is
now
the worst.
pretty mainly black team. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's like reverse now, kind of thing. It's like, well,
And they're still racist.
and it's
But what you're saying, by the way, you're not wrong in what you're saying. It goes back to the philosophies of how people fight the good fight. Yeah. So to me, like
Everyone has their way.
he said France. There's a player, centre midfield, called Kante. Yeah. He's the most humble football player you'd ever see. He drives a Mini Cooper, always has. He's on a stupid amount of money.
And one of the baddest.
And one of the best footballers. Yeah. When they asked him why do you drive a Mini Cooper, why do you live in just not a footballer's house, just a nice, it's a big house, but it's not a footballer's house. Yeah. He spends most of his wages building and sorting out back home. Yeah, because he came over. So he's got like bare people in his village on salaries. Like he patterned the whole place, yeah? And you got to remember, Sterling is doing something very similar. So there are people that are going to be like, fuck you, man, we can scrap. And there are going to be people that are going to be like, okay, cool, pay me 300, 400, 500k a week and let me go pattern all the bandem up.
That makes sense.
Quickly.
I'll be the one to take
It matters about an intention. So
yeah.
are you aware enough to know, okay, if I am going to enter the belly of the beast, how am I going to use this position to like
And
help
don't,
my
like,
people?
there's bare ballers that, like, even Ronaldo, yes, he's white, but he's a GOAT, yeah? And I went back to his hometown, Madeira. He's literally built a museum for himself, a statue for himself, patterned the whole island, put his family in charge of his museum, put everything he's ever won in that museum, because you know, like your club and stuff, trying to keep stuff like that. He's taking it all, put it all in his museum and uses that to fund that
to bring like
tourism and all that stuff, yeah? And so this is what I mean in the sense that I agree with what you're saying. You're being like a snake because you're representing such a racist country. I agree.
I wouldn't say snake, but
I get what you're saying. But for me, it's like you know they're trying to destroy the black family. He's got the most blackest of blackest family. There's 5 of them, no cheating scandals, in a nice house, 3 kids, looking after his family, looking after the ends, humble guy. Like, for me personally, and I'm not just speaking about him, that's because he's like the most hated man, he's the target in the UK. For me, he's doing. Like, if I would be doing the exact same thing. Does that make
Do
sense?
you know what the thing is as well, yeah? Because I get your sentiment clearly about what I said in the beginning. But obviously, after going through this and hear what you're saying, it makes sense. The other thing on the flip side is that you have to take on board. Isn't that just, if he's setting this precedent for young black people, young black children coming up, whether it be their love of football or just whatever their passion is, to go and focus on it and be the best at it. If he then does stick a finger up and then has everything revoked, he's also then showing them, just guess what? If you just say F this, they do still take it back, and then you're back to square one when you can't actually do anything. So right now, like Joe was saying, if you are going to enter the belly of the beast, but you've got your own agenda, and you can manipulate that and say, let me get how many grand a week, I'm still putting my people in a better position than they would have been if I said F you.
I was saying the only way out is through.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
but
you've
everyone's
got to-
going through that.
But the thing is, if you run through the fire, yeah,
That's his
and you
route.
can pave the way, throw in something that creates pathway through this fire, we're still all gonna feel the heat, but guess what? We can run through.
Make it
Whereas
a bit
if I
easier.
say no, we're all standing at the hell
done like
gates,
O.J.
like
Simpson.
looking, thinking, wait, do we all just hold hands and run together and get burnt and not know if we make it through? Or if there is that one taking the being sacrificed.
It's got to be like
It's
27.
nice, man.
So let's say it's going to be done in like what, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5
I
years.
feel like it doesn't matter what platform, what job
You can't
you
do
here.
right.
Yeah. Do you
It's
know what
like
I'm
you
saying? You're
can't
gonna
do
fit
right
in
way.
anywhere. It's a whole system thing, so it doesn't matter what you do.
So
Get
when-
yours,
what it is.
support your own, keep it moving.
That's to be fair, right now, that's it.